Semantic search analysis. Identify your priorities to come up with a roadmap for your clients. Make a list of your top web pages for your website. What are the key websites based on traffic or business importance? Perhaps you can use your Google Analytics to determine what people are already looking at. Perhaps you can also look at your metrics in terms of your conversions to see in your website what are the top priority pages. A second angle to look at when you're trying to prioritize a roadmap for a client is to understand what is the key content and the entities that are strategic to the business. Does the business have multiple service, products, or locations? And what is it that the company really sells? Which of those are a strategic focus for growing the business? Is there a specific part of the business that is very unique? This is a sort of entity-based approach. So become somewhat of the go-to repository for whatever it is that's key to your business. A third one is to optimize your core pages, and this should go without saying that you want to mark up your home page and also your contact page or location. A fourth one is a Google Features analysis. We're going to dive into the second and fourth in the list. So understanding about your key content and then understanding from a Google Features priority list. So your semantic search strategy can be built out from your key entities to understand what kind of content do you need in your database. What kind of attributes will you need in the database? What kind of relationships do you need between objects within the database? As you define your attributes and relationships, you can mimic and copy the schema.org definitions as closely as possible. This gives you the data set to be able to put into templates and to put into your website and deploy within your user experience. With the new content, design for publishing the markup to your users. Given all of these new relationships and new properties for your entities and your key content, users can find the related entities much easier. They'll also consume the content more, especially for the entities that they're interested in. So it increases the user consumption, the time on page. The more information and relationships you have amongst your key concepts and content, it also encourages users to serendipitously discover new content. So as you have those related articles or related products, they'll be able to see them in the related section of that key entity. So once you have your new content design, you can also go into a marketing angle. So in the long tail marketing, all of these key entities play a key role in the utility of being able to discover your content from Google search. Neatly packaging the content for each entity would mean having one page with almost all of that information for that entity in details on that page, along with the related links. Make it easy to navigate and involve your marketing to promote dedicated content for each of those key entities. Improve reach by developing relationships between the on-site pages, backlinks, and citations for specific entities. This provides you with a rich landing site and content and education aspect to your marketing content plan using schema and using your semantic search to power that experience and to help drive people to find the content easier. The other angle we like to take is reverse engineering Google features. So we've put together our worksheet to help you identify which of your pages match the Google feature and review what is most relevant to your site. So for each of these features, you should be familiar with the guidelines and the recommendation to understand, is it a pilot feature only, or what are the types of required fields necessary in your content. Make a list of the content that you currently meet, and then you can work on perhaps those key elements which are not available. So maybe it's reviews for an aggregate review of your product that's not available. So you can kind of make a list of what are those gaps within the features. and then you can work towards those. So the worksheet has some assumptions. So basically, we're taking the Google features. You're going to have to do a bit of analysis based on the website, and we can come up with some priorities. The worksheet assumes that the business value, of course, is subjective. So we have a high, medium, low, but for the most part, they're fairly representative, and you can tweak them according to the nature of the business. A complexity approximates the effort it is to required to implement the feature. So primarily, we're talking about development time. Publicly available, as we mentioned, some of the things are not available to all providers. Your analysis, you'll have to determine whether or not the feature is relevant to the business. This should be fairly straightforward. Are there factors which might prevent you, though, from being eligible? So this, again, is this gap analysis. So are there reviews required to produce an aggregate rating score for a product, as an example? Fill in the relevant pages, an estimated number of pages, and then come up with the implementation method. So is this a single page type of implementation where you're hand coding the markup, or are we doing a template-based type of implementation? Let's have a look at the worksheet. So here's the worksheet. On the left-hand side, the first column, we have the product. So Google Search has 23 features. Email Actions has another 8. And then amongst the Google features here, we've made a list of the ones that you would see in the structured data. And this is as of the end of April 2016. Each of those has been given an estimated business value. Again, high, medium, low. Complexity. How hard is it to implement? Is it publicly available? This is there some sort of restriction for like software apps or for the local business actions? Those things are not publicly available. Is it relevant and eligible? So is your business is this feature relevant to your business? So if you don't have events like performers or venues or ticketers, it's easy to say no. Some of the times it's maybe not clear. It's possibly relevant to your business and you could be eligible, but it might just mean that it's going to require the whole new content to kind of meet that need. Here, make some notes about which pages are relevant because you're going through the analysis. You'll want to come back to this later when you're going to do the work to basically remember and get the priorities going for the development. Then relevant number of pages. So for this instance, the home page, there's only one home page, so that's pretty easy. We just put in number 1. The implementation method, again, the rule of thumb is there under 10 pages, then you can do this one by one type of implementation. Otherwise, it's going to be template-based is the alternative. So given all those, we've produced a ranking here, a score for each one of those things. So in this example, we are doing a pizza site. This pizza site, of course, has a home page. There's one page with medium and high value things on the home page. And we have a priority score here of 10, for example, for the corporate contacts. So it's a high value, it's easy to implement, it's publicly available, it's relevant, it's on the home page, there's one page to do it, and you're going to do it with a single kind of one-time implementation. So hand coding or using Schema App. Another one here, so we have a template for, let's look at the products. So this pizza has its menu. There's approximately 50 different types of products that the company has. The menu is kind of listed now, but it's a list. It doesn't have a tremendous amount of information for each one of the menu items. However, this is one of these key entities that we're talking about. So it'd be nice if even those products, those pizza recipes and related products, would actually have their own presence on the site. A better design with more information about maybe the relevant ingredients or the related products. You can imagine there would be an easy use case to create a better user experience on this key entity. So we have a high business value, medium complexity. Yes, it's available publicly, it's relevant and eligible. This was the page example that we have for it. There's about 50 pages, and that produces a priority score of 24, so fairly high. Let's look now at the highest of all. 26 is the location for local business overview. So it's of high value, medium complexity, it's not publicly available, it's relevant, and there's about 500 locations. So this pizza company has a lot of locations. So we want to make sure that each one of those pizza locations has all of their opening hours, the geolocation, all of the local SEO type of implementation things. So this is a high priority for the business. It would be a template-based type of implementation as well. So it shouldn't be overly complex. We've given this the priority score. So you can see that it takes into account if there was maybe 50 locations, it's going to give it a score of 19. Back up to 500, it's 26. If we change this to, if for whatever reason we had to do this all single, it would be it's not something that we've taken into account in the priority score, but you can imagine how much more time it would take. If this value was to change here, so the relevant and eligible, if it's not available, we're going to give it a 0. So obviously, we're not going to bother with it. It might be available. Perhaps it's going to take some work. We kind of discount it quite a bit, by about a third. So we'll revert back. Publicly available. So this is kind of a mixture. It's actually, this is kind of the knowledge graph. And it says yes and no, but it comes up in different ways. So I'm going to put this to a yes. The no here is the actions. That's for sure something that's only amongst the pilot customers. So this came out in December. I think this should be, especially those opening hours, the basic information on that business is going to get out there and get into the knowledge graph. And well, I'm sure soon these local business kind of features will be available to all. The actions maybe not right away. Search result, breadcrumbs, so this is medium value, medium complexity, it's amongst page hierarchies, and there's 1,000 total pages, so we get a score of 8. What else do we have? So the local actions have here an 18. We do have it publicly available as no, so it is a high complex. You can see if it's even less complex, then you get a different score here in the priority. Down here we have another high ranking one. This is the email action. So you can imagine that after a customer goes in, has their pizza, or they maybe get the delivery of the pizza, and if they get email confirmations already, you can send out an email to say, hey, how was your pizza? And that would provide a high value to the business to get that continuous feedback. And you can do that directly from your inbox and without even clicking away from the Google inbox application. It's a bit more complex because you do have to figure out a way to capture and store those Google reviews or those reviews coming from the inbox. Yes, it's publicly available. There is with all these email actions, you do have to go through certification. So not certification, an approval. So you have to mock it up, provide a bit around the use case to Google, and then you send in the application. For us, they responded initially with the first first person who did a look at it within a couple of days, and then it went to like a development team to just make sure that it was fine. That took a couple more weeks. So 3 weeks, I think, is around the time it took, and it was around Christmas, so that might have had a factor. So I just wanted to give you this sense of what this is. Given all of these features, you can have some thought about the complexity, the relative business value. Is it even available yet? is relevant to the business, and throw in some values for the number of pages to come out with a priority score. A -1, so obviously means it's not super important. It's not like you get a negative score for the complexity. So, and if it's not relevant to the business, well, it is relevant to the business. So they do have software apps, but it's not publicly available. So you end up with a negative score. Products and locations. This is template based. So here you go. So this is kind of your roadmap, and the way I would look at it is to take the priority score, take the derived lookup from the lookup and calculation fields here, the number of pages relevant to business. Understand that higher is more important. And you can think of those single pages with the higher score as quick wins. So they're not going to provide like the most value, but it's something that you can get done very quickly in less than a day. Next to that is the higher value template-based work. And so you want to look through those templates and according to that priority score. And you don't have to use this as the only way to approach it, but I think it's a great way to kind of quickly get a grasp and provide something to the client to say, like, here's the first priority, here's next priority, and you can move them around a little bit based on your experience. And then once you have the highest value kind of template-based feature implementations, you can then follow on with lesser value single pages and other template-based features. And together with this, your key entities analysis for homepage markup, these are the kinds of things that you can put into play to say, in the short term, we're going to do for some quick wins. We're going to do the markup on your homepage. In the interim, we'll do some of the template-based work for the longer tail, the bigger data set, and then, third, the kind of medium longer term strategy is like really building up that content strategy, building up the information for your key entities so that you have more information available to increase your users' experience. It increases the ability for them to find your content, increases the time on your page, it increases the serendipitous type of discovery once they're on your page, and ultimately it's going to lead to conversions. So it's the combination of these that really come together for your semantic search strategy.